Hi, I'm Perry Atkinson, General Manager here at theDove. Hey, check out our other videos and check out our website at thedove.us. Well, welcome back. You know, in America, homelessness just shouldn't be allowed. And what I mean by that is that it shouldn't occur in the life of anyone, especially where there are churches and there are people to reach out and Christian organizations. Well, earlier, Steve Johnson had the chance to talk to Jackie Agee, who's the Development Director for the Salvation Army, about homelessness and what we can do to help with that situation. Let's join them now.
Well, you've heard of the Salvation Army before, if not at Thanksgiving and at Christmas as well, but you know, they do stuff otherwise than just those two hot times of the year. And joining us today from the Salvation Army is Jackie Agee. We talk to you quite often. Probably last time was Christmas, I'm thinking.
I think it
may have been that long ago.
Yes.
And also Jennifer, who is a former resident of what is called Hope House, and that's what we are going to find out a little bit about. Now, so Salvation Army, you know, for people who might just think about you at the holiday season and also the thrift shop and all that kind of stuff, the Hope House might be a new idea. So Jackie, why don't you tell us first of all, what's the concept behind the Hope House?
Well, the Hope House is our transitional living center for homeless men, women, and families with children, minor children. And what we do is we offer a 2-year program that gives the homeless an opportunity to get back on their feet, to take care of the challenges that they have in their life, whether it be with debt or drug and alcohol addiction. They learn how to look for a job and do resumes, work on budgeting, you know, learn life skills that will help them make the transition into permanent housing.
And how long has that been operating in our area?
Well, actually, the transitional program has been here since 1996, and we're over on Cruise Road, which is kind of tucked back behind Wendy's and the new Natural Grocers. And if you were standing at Rogue Valley Mall looking straight across, it's tucked back in there. But we work with single men, single women, and as I mentioned, families with children, and provide them a safe, you know, clean environment where they can work on what led to their homelessness and hopefully get back on their feet to make a transition back into the community.
Do they approach you to say, you know, I've got some needs and can you help me out, or how does that work?
We get a lot of referrals from other agencies, and you know, and people self-refer as well. We work very closely with, you know, the drug and alcohol treatment facilities here, as well as the St. Vincent de Paul and the Gospel Mission, and you know, Department of Human Services. We get a lot of referrals. We have a lot of vets in our program as well, so we work with the Veterans Administration, and so they come to our program. They
may be then suggested from the Veterans Administration?
Correct,
too? Okay.
yes.
Does every Salvation Army have a Hope House?
No. No, every Salvation Army kind of has its own programs. There are programs up in Portland that are similar, but in terms of what's here in Oregon, I believe we're the only one that has a transitional living facility here in Oregon, except for what we have up in Portland.
And why this particular transitional housing area? Is there any reason why this area might be a magnet for that need?
No, not really. I think it's just a matter of kind of how it started. Our building over on Cruise Road, to my understanding, used to be what was called a wet facility, where people could come who were, you know, using, you know, were drunk or using drugs, and now it's a clean and sober environment. We have zero tolerance for alcohol and drug use. So that, you know, that was our building, and subsequent to that building, we actually expanded in 2010 and added 12 new apartments for families with children.
Oh, really?
So we've grown our program significantly.
And how big would Hope House be able to hold people then? How many?
Well, right now, on an average every year, we handle about 220 individuals, and that usually includes about 25 to 28 families, you know, somewhere between 70 and 80 children, and then the rest would be single men and single women.
Okay. Well, Jennifer, why don't you tell us a little your story of Hope House? How this all come about, where you found out about it even?
I was in drug and alcohol treatment when I found out about Hope House, and then from there they took me there, where I filled out the application and got the manual on all the rules and everything that was Hope House, and it was a little daunting.
Well, it's really pretty strict.
You know, I was out there doing whatever I wanted to do for many, many years, and had no rules, just did what I wanted, you know, and I got into treatment, and I got into family court, which is a community treatment court in this valley. And so they were making me do things and making me follow rules. And then I went to the Hope House, and they made me follow rules. And now I just follow them. You know, now it's just a part of my life now. And I'm so thankful for them, because they provided me a safe, secure place for my kids to be at. Before I got there, I was about ready to give them up, because I couldn't stay clean and sober. And I didn't think that I was the mother for them. And then going there, I got a little bit of self-esteem behind me with their support, and they were pushing me, even against my own will. Sometimes they continued to push me, and it made me believe in myself again, to where I could actually get some self-sufficiency going, to where I could believe that I could be the mother that my children needed me to be.
How old were your kids at that time?
Oh, let's see, that was in 2011 that I came there. So Gina was 11, and then I also got custody recently, last May, of one of my kids that was up in Alaska, had abuse issues up there. So as I was there, I got him too. And then I had an...
Is he younger?
Now he is 11.
Wow.
And
so
then,
they were not like little toddlers.
And then I have a 5 and a 6-year-old too.
Oh.
So they were
how many of you moved in then to the Hope House? Were there just you and your daughter?
It was me in the beginning.
Oh, okay.
And then I didn't get the kids back until quite some time later.
While you were at the Hope House? Okay. And how long were you there?
I was there
a little over 2 years.
Yeah.
Is that a normal length of time for somebody to be there?
Well, I mean, people can stay up to 2 years, and then sometimes we extend that, which we did in Jennifer's case. I think our average now is probably right around a year.
Okay.
Because, you know, we have some people who come in that don't stay very long, and then we have others who stay longer. I mean, really, for someone who's been homeless and struggled with all the things that, like Jennifer had struggled with, you know, 30 or 45 days or even 6 months really isn't long enough to deal with everything and to really get solid, you know, grounded in a self-sufficient lifestyle that's going to help, you know, sustain them in the community at large.
Well, it sounds like it was exactly what you needed at that time for it all. Do the staff go through training to be able to understand how to deal with those people? Because it sounds like you're going to get any number of backgrounds of individuals who come in.
We get, you know, we have some, you know, resources through the Salvation Army, because we have transitional facilities throughout the country.
Right.
So we have a lot of, you know, great resources that way. And we do get, you know, people who come in. The VA has worked with us really closely and done some training. And we do, you know, special seminars and that type of thing. In fact, our director this summer is going to be going to a 1-week training course of working with people with drug and alcohol issues.
I see. Is this one of the longer transitional facilities from what you know that the Salvation Army has? I mean, it could be several years that somebody's in the program.
I mean, 2 years really is the maximum. I think that's pretty much our philosophy, that people need more time. And so from, you know, all the programs that I'm aware of, at least there's one in San Francisco, and I believe that's another 2-year program. You know, many of the other shelters around here are shelters, and they're more emergency shelters, so that's a shorter length of time. So ours is a transitional facility. I mean, somebody has to be clean and sober for 30 days before they can come into our program.
Oh, I see.
And
in the Hope House itself.
Into Hope House, correct.
Because you also have more of that emergency facility too, don't you?
No, we don't.
You don't. Okay,
no, we're
so you take the
strictly
longer
transitional.
term. Okay.
Yeah, and I think back in the day, before 1996, we were more of an emergency shelter, similar to, you know, some of the programs we've had in, you know, bigger cities.
Let's talk, Jennifer, a little bit about it. It sounds like when you first got there, you thought, boy, there's a lot of rules, and is this really for me? But at some point then you said, I got to stick this out. What was it that kind of caused you to realize, all right, this is the place I should be?
Well, I had quite a significant amount of years hanging over my head for prison time. And I had relapsed a couple times prior to going there, so this was the last chance. This was the last ditch effort.
And you realized that at the time,
And right? I realized that at the time. It was told to me in court very plainly. And I really did not want to come into the Hope House because I didn't know if I could even remember all the rules. But now looking back and at the end of my stay, that's a no-brainer. I mean, they're just rules that normal people follow, and it really became my training wheels for life. And if it wasn't so long of a stay, I couldn't have done it in 6 months or a year.
You needed that time.
I needed that time to really learn a different way to live.
Now, are you able? You're able to talk into the lives of some of the other people. You may see some come in and say, "Boy, this is a lot like where I was a couple of years ago." Are you able to talk to them at all about?
Absolutely.
Keep it. I mean, are you convincing? You probably are. I would imagine after having been there.
Because I have had a vast amount of experience out there, and I've had a lot of trauma situations, and I've seen a lot of different walks of life, and I've come through that, and I've transitioned and just made a huge 180. And normally people look at me and they don't think that I was like that at one time, but I actually have proof and pictures that I can show people and say, look, I qualify, and this is what happened, and this is how I made a change for the better.
And it wasn't that long ago, really.
It wasn't that long ago. I'm coming up on 3 years clean and sober on the 2nd of January.
Let me ask both of you, when you have to approach a situation that you know this person needs help, I would imagine you're coming up against similar trends that you have to kind of break through. What is the hardest way to get somebody who might be a relative or a friend, that somebody who's listening and watching this right now might say, you know, I can relate to somebody who's out there, as you were saying. What's the best way to connect with them, to get them help so that they know they got to be at a place like Hope House? Either of you
Well, you know, hopefully they're, you know, involved with some kind of social services, human services agency, and, you know, has that information and knows what's available to them. You know, we do work really closely with other agencies, and I would imagine anybody who is in those circumstances, you know, somebody's aware of them, one of the agencies, and knows of our program and can send them to us. But, you know, people who do come into our program really need to want to change their lives.
Kind of like you were mentioning, Jennifer.
You know, we recently did an intake on a person. It was a man, and we, you know, did the interview, and it was all, you know, he was referred to us from an agency, and it was all hunky-dory, and when he found out there was a 7 o'clock curfew, he just said, I can't do this, and he walked out. So, you know, really, it is mostly referrals, and, you know, and I think sometimes, you know, people out in the community, you know, those who, you know, are homeless and maybe have gone through this program, but it didn't work for them for whatever reason. They, you know, they may talk to somebody that they meet, and that person may decide to come knock on our door and find out what's what. But it's, you know, people have to really want to change their lives, because, as Jennifer said, we have rules, we have expectations. They come in, they set an action plan, a self-sufficiency plan, they set goals, and they work with their case manager in getting those goals accomplished. And, you know, it's not easy, but for those who have made it through successfully, it's worth it.
Yeah. Jennifer, glad to hear your story. That's terrific. Boy, just in a couple of years how a life can be changed like that. That's terrific. And thanks for letting us know about something we might have heard about, but Jackie, now we know more about the Salvation Army's Hope House. And they can get in contact with you if they have any questions,
Yes.
I suppose, right? Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you, Steve.
The Hope House and, of course, the Salvation Army here on Focus Today.
All right, thank you, Steve, and thank you, Jackie. Well, coming up next, another very important topic. How about, have you ever considered becoming a foster parent? Well, we're going to give you a lot of information about that coming up next.